Welcome. Joe Volpe, publisher of Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian-language daily newspaper, on behalf of Go Live and Corriere Can Media Group with the comment of the day, and it has everything to do with the events of an action-packed week, threats, menaces, etc., and starvation diets. Let's go to the comment of the day. Now, in politics, as in the rest of the world, there's the issue of transparency and legal bullyism. One of life's ironies in Canada is that we call ourselves an open and transparent democratic society, welcoming, multicultural, and celebrated defender of human rights everywhere. Unless there's money to be made doing something else, then the rule of law can be set aside. That's the lesson of the SNC-Lavalin affair. It's the way of the world, say the defenders of a company that has earned a reputation for bribery, corruption, and fraud in places like Libya, Bangladesh, Montreal. The sad part of the tale is that some Canadians kind of shrug their shoulders and say, well, that's business. One needs deep pockets to navigate the rules of the third world countries. In first world countries, you need friends in high places and an army of lawyers. That's the biggest, busiest, most visible core of business agents in Trump's USA, and increasingly so in Canada. Trump is also the commander-in-chief of the largest army in the world, by far. Its annual budget, slated, is approximately $1 trillion Canadian. It's equivalent of about 50% of Canada's GDP. That's a lot of muscle. Happily, he threatens its use in foreign lands and, primarily, it seems, to obtain commercial leverage for American businesses and in support of repressive organizations to secure it. Companies like SNC-Lavalin, who don't have that advantage, are still willing to empty their deep pockets, nurture the aspirations of petty tyrants who need lubricant to hire and maintain an army of mercenaries, otherwise known as gangsters, to suppress some of the freedoms that we have come to take for granted. The danger lies in the fact that the ensuing corporate culture is imported back into Canada. So what stands in the way? Transparency and openness. It may be self-serving, but that calls for a free and unfettered press. The Fourth Estate, that shines a light on the haughtiness, the arrogance, the privilege, abuse of position and power. It's the only protection against petty tyranny and its practitioners. Happy are we in Canada, where the worst that can be done to those with flashlights and a voice is a threat to visit them with legal bullying for alleged defamation and libel. An impartial court would decide. Elsewhere, beatings, jailings, and worse are the order of the day. And we can learn from the experience of others. Thomas Saras, president of the National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada, in a recent meeting of its executive, was asked what the relationship between the new government of Ontario and the National Ethnic Press and Media Council would be like, given the public expressions of the new premier. Saras, who has crossed pens, so to speak, with government thugs in his more youthful days in his native Greece and suffered the consequences, responded thus: I'm a personal friend of the premier and any political figure who occupies office or positions of public trust by virtue of the public's will. But I have a professional obligation to be clinical and analytical that takes precedence over my personal preferences. I hope the two will not conflict. If they were to, I know what to do. I hope I've rendered that statement as accurately as possible. In Monday's executive meeting, several representatives from Toronto's growing Kurdish community called on affiliated members to highlight the plight of Yusuf Iba, a fellow journalist from Kurdistan region of the Greater Middle East. IBA has joined an international hunger strike in support of Kurdish MP in Turkey's parliament, Leyla Guven, jailed in January of 2018 for her criticisms of the country's invasion of Afrin in northern Syria. She did it in the House. She has been on a hunger strike since November the 8th, 2018. There's a growing number of journalists worldwide who have joined her to draw attention to the systematic harassments, beatings, and incarcerations of people who dare to express a view contrary to that of the government or people in high places. IBA has been on this hunger strike for 60 days. As one of the interveners expressed, an aspect of the dilemma of the Kurds is if you don't have territory, you don't have rights. Supporters of IBA should communicate with contactkurdishcommunity.com. That's our comment for today. Stay tuned for that comment in Italian. Follow us on social media. Subsequently, we'll do it as well in Portuguese.